Hello, everyone, and welcome to the A-Okie Show. My name is Skip A-Okie because everything that I do is A-Okie. I am joined today by the amazing Nigel Rabid. Nigel, how are you doing today, good sir?
I'm doing very well, Skip. Thank you so much for having me on the show.
Oh, it's an honor to have you on here. I've seen you everywhere up in Dallas, but now everything's kind of shut down. What have you been doing to pass the time?
Really, I spend time reading children's stories online. That's what I've mostly been doing.
Mhm.
Aside from that, trying to heal my ankle from the sprain from a spill I took in February, and spend time with my pets, my cats and my dogs.
Nice. What kind of dogs and cats do you have? How many do you have?
I had four dogs. One passed away in February from a melanoma.
Man.
And she's a wonderful dog. I miss her. But all of them are
Yeah.
mutts. All mixed breeds in one form or fashion, which is, in my opinion, probably the best kind of dog that you can have, because you don't have as much of a predilection towards the genetic flaws that happen when you try to breed something purebred.
Yeah.
If you have any questions about that, please see the Royals. But as far as the cats, oh, there's a little face right there.
Here,
Um,
here's mine. Y'all heard me talk a couple interviews ago about my cat. This is her. Her name is Lila. She is adorable.
she is lovely, lovely little black cat. My other cats are. Uh, I don't. I think they're mixed breeds. I don't think anyone is any particular breed. Although I believe my youngest boy is part Burmese.
Hmm.
They're wonderfully affectionate animals. The former Mrs. Rabbit and I didn't. I not to toot my own horn or toot our horn. We did a wonderful job raising them. So
Yeah.
they're remarkably affectionate animals. Anyone who interacts with my cats are very surprised at how loving, how friendly, how approachable they are. I've only got one that really behaves like a cat. And she was kind of feral when we got her. She had ended up rescued by a friend of mine who was looking for a home for, and he rescued her from a neighbor who someone gave a 6-year-old child a kitten without checking to see if the family wanted or would have a
Yeah.
kitten. And then the kitten got booted to the outside, and booted to the outside, she had to fend for herself against the family's two outdoor pit bulls as far
Oh,
as trying to
wow.
get food.
Yeah.
Um, so she's a bit of a scrapper. She's a bit, yeah, don't touch me. Okay, now. All right, you've touched
Understandable.
me. You touched me too much. Stop it, stop it, stop it before I kill you. Yeah.
That's
Otherwise,
understandable.
otherwise, she's a lovely cat. I mean, she's definitely one of those cats. Her name is Nuit. All my cats are named after Egyptian gods and goddesses, and Nuit or Nut is the Egyptian goddess of the sky, and very. Yeah, when she wants affection, she will come right up to you, like, get right into it. Give me a pet now. It's like, okay, or literally, I've been reading books in bed, and a paw will come up over top the book and slam it down, and then there's this cat face in front of me, and she's like, "I want you to give me affection." Uh, so,
That's how definitely how cats are sometimes.
absolutely, no, they're wonderful, and they really do help, because all of this quarantine business, yeah, uh, I'm I'm not necessarily want to get prone to huge bouts of loneliness, depressions, but
Yeah.
with all of this that's going on, and what's gone on with me the past couple of years, I've lost a good number of friends. Probably three or four friends over the course of the past 3 or 4 years have
Yeah.
passed on. Uh, that coupled with during that time also ending up with a former missus opposed to having a missus, it's made things like this lockdown a little bit lonely. But the animals do a wonderful job of keeping Dad's spirits up.
Yeah, that's always been the job of pets. Wrestling is also really therapeutic as well. Just being
Yes.
around in the business. What companies are you not wrestling for but working for, making your appearance? I know that you were the dastardly heel.
No,
That's right. I said it.
I'm a
I
wonderful
said it.
person. I'm a wonderful person. Ask anyone I've paid. But we'll start with the one that has I think the most exposure right now, and that would be SWE Fury. I work for them. I've been very blessed to have been with them from the very get-go. We're currently, good grief, we're currently running in the Dallas market on channel 33 at 2 a.m. on Sunday mornings, although for some reason people keep saying Saturday. It's actually Sunday morning. So yeah, I think what the mindset is we've spent the day of Saturday doing things, and we go into Saturday night, and then from Saturday night we're into the AM, and no, it's still Saturday night because we've not gone to bed, which is my personal philosophy. It's not the next day until you've gone to sleep and woken up. Which if you stay up for more than 24 hours, really messes with your time, your sense of time. But working for them, and good grief, we're not just on. But I think the remarkable thing about SWE Fury is the company's only been in existence for about a year. I think we just passed the year mark in March, and we're on the CW33. We're on
Fight TV.
We're on Fight TV, which is international on the free streaming services. We're on the Action Channel, which is a national cable channel in various markets, and we're also on Right Now TV, which is also a cable channel in various markets. But Right Now TV is also available through Roku. So if you have a Roku box or Roku television, you can download Right Now, even if you don't have access to Right Now as a regular cable provider. And what is it? I want to say every Tuesday and Thursday at I think it's 10 p.m.
We can always tell everyone to go like the SWE Facebook page. That has our schedule up there.
Absolutely. Go and like the SWE Facebook page. Follow SWE Fury Television on Twitter and Instagram. I believe that's SW Fury TV. And you get to. We send regular announcements of. Just a moment there. All right. Sorry about that. Someone tried to ring in.
You're perfectly fine.
We do regular announcements of, hey, watch us. We're doing this thing. Watch us. We're on here. But it's really been very exciting to be a part of that and watch it grow. Of course, with all of the lockdown, it's forced us to put the brakes on TV tapings and things of that nature. But I'm hoping that with everything that's going on and with the momentum that we've been gaining, we will continue to grow. And once we are out of this lockdown situation, we will be able to continue to push SWE into newer, brighter directions. I mean, just it's taken for me personally, because I've been in the wrestling business since 2009, so
Really?
it's taken 11 years for me to get to any kind of regular television spot.
Yeah.
So it's exciting, and it's all been it's all been very I think very good. But on top of SWE Fury, I'm also a regular at Texoma Pro Wrestling,
Hmm.
and have been with Texoma Pro Wrestling. I want to say for about, has it been 7, 8 years?
Wow.
I've been with them for quite some time, and I've been a part of them predominantly as a manager. I've done a few moments of commentary. Interestingly enough, most of my commentary at Texoma Pro Wrestling has been with Joe Exotic of the Tiger King Netflix
Yeah.
documentary fame. And Joe was a character to work with. Not someone who was into the wrestling business, so he was not necessarily knowledgeable about wrestling from a commentary standpoint. But my goodness, did he give good color? He was,
Oh yeah.
yeah, and it was kind of like having a babyface color commentator, along with having a heel color commentator, and then poor Rob Moore is just trying to conduct traffic. But let's see. I'm also regularly doing commentary and occasionally managing at DFW All Pro in Holtham City,
Hmm.
and also doing mostly commentary, occasionally managing for VIP Wrestling, also in Holtham City. Those are the ones that I'm hitting the most regularly. Although, good grief, I I want to say that if they've been a major player in North Texas wrestling for any stretch of time, I've worked for them over the course of the past 10 years. I've been really blessed in that regard. Um, and then internationally, I'm also, I think I can still say that I'm a member of Continental Wrestling Entertainment, which is the Great Khali's wrestling company, and I'm
Yeah.
a commentator and announcer. I kind of think of those roles when you're doing things like that as kind of a master of ceremonies,
Yeah.
because it's all done live, all done over the house mics, and wonderful experiences working with Khali. And then I've, as of actually, it will be 1 year here in a few days, actually, with Pro Wrestling Federation of Pakistan, as their master of ceremonies, and I recently just became their chief operations officer, so their COO. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
it's very exciting, and I love the opportunities that Pro Wrestling Federation of Pakistan has been affording both myself, to the international talent that they've been bringing in, and their existing talent pool, doing a lot of things. A lot of them very young, very green in the business, but a lot
Hmm.
of them coming along quite nicely.
That's awesome. You've even reached out overseas. That's fantastic. Um, Now you mentioned earlier about the reading on Facebook Live. Tell
Mm-hmm.
us more about that. What's going on with that? What books are you reading right now?
Well, right now I'm reading a series of what I do is I read children's stories, usually a one shot read, bedtime stories that,
Yeah.
like for example, I will probably have already read it by the time that this drops, but or one of the things we've been reading, and it's probably reversed because of the way that the cameras work. But this is the tale of Johnny Townmouse by Beatrix Potter, and we'll be reading that tonight. And we just finished reading The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe
Nice.
during the weekends. On the weekends, I read chapter books, things without pictures, because I know especially once comes time for wrestling to go back in a full swing, and I'm going to be booked and doing those kinds of things. I wanted to do something a little bit different because kids are going to be out with mom and dad, and mom and dad are going to want to do things, and not always is it going to be time to sit down and have story time.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I still wanted to extend that because I've had some really lovely interactions. I had one gentleman reach out and tell me that he never really had anyone read to him as a child. And so having me do this and read, and it grants him the opportunity to kind of, for lack of a better description, imagine what it would have been like to have that kind of experience growing up, and imagine if mom or dad had the time to do that kind of reading.
Yeah, and
So
it really helps with the silky smooth accent that you have.
that's what I've been told. Some people have told me that I could make a telephone book interesting, and
Oh
I
yeah.
went, how do you know what a telephone book is? You're far too young.
What are
But
those again?
right, it's a
Right.
it's a book. A what? Oh God, yes, we're already at this point in society. Um, I think that's probably my biggest concern is some of the things that I want to read are things that uh, I don't have physical copies of.
Yeah.
I only have these digital copies, and I haven't figured out. I'm sure there's an application, and if I did more research into it, but I haven't fully figured out how I can. All right, so we're going to capture my screen, and I'm just going to read. And, you see me reading this digital book and flipping the digital pages. And,
There is an aesthetic to it that you need to that
yeah.
you don't get it with a digital book as opposed to when you do get it with a hardcover book or even a soft cover just flipping through.
Well, I will say it does kind of depend. Like, if you give me like the choices between a Kindle book and an Apple book or an iBook or whatever they're calling it, I prefer using Apple Books, the Apple Books application, because there's actually a physical. When you swipe the screen, you actually see page curl and
That's
turn.
cool.
And I'm sure I'm sure that Kindle has that, but I started doing it with the Apple books and just really kind of latched onto that because it makes me feel a little bit better. And I'm sure some people feel better just being able to flick screens, but it just makes me
Right.
feel better to see that page turn happen. It also helps me realize when I've accidentally tapped the screen because you can do it with a swipe or a tap in the corner. And if you accidentally tap the screen and you watch the page go by, well, no, I didn't finish that. Go back, which I do a lot when I'm trying to walk around the house or that is probably I think my favorite thing about digital books is right now on the device that I'm having this conversation with you, and you're in the Central Texas area. I'm in North Texas. I'm in a suburb of Dallas, and using this device to have this conversation, I also have over 300 books on my phone.
Wow.
Yes, I haven't read them
That's
all.
quite a few.
I'm working my way through. Most of them are Star Wars books because I'm a nerd. But it's really remarkable the things that we can have access to now.
Right.
Things that are out of print can no longer have to worry about being in print, just as long as someone somewhere transposes it to a digital medium and then it affords it to be uploaded.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of remarkable things that technology provides us. But anyway, I digress. I will on the forthcoming weekend. We will be reading the first book of the Prydain Chronicles. The Prydain Chronicles are more. The second book is the one that most Americans are familiar with. And the second book is entitled The Black Cauldron, which Walt Disney in the mid 80s did a beautifully done
Yeah.
animated film, but it did not fare well. But it was one. I think it was like the first Disney movie, animated movie, without a musical number, without anything like this. It was attempting to be a straight fantasy tale.
Hmm.
I think where they went astray with it is, instead of taking the original novel as written, because it's the second book in the series and not the first book in the series, they had to bring all the characters together and introduce them for the first time,
Yeah.
instead of starting it as hey, everybody already knows all these guys. No, we don't. But and we're going to read the first book of that, which is entitled The Book of Three. And because it's my philosophy that while doing this, read different books from different series. Don't read an
Yeah.
entire series in one shot. Because if someone, for example, doesn't care for the Chronicles of Narnia, because they don't like the literature, or they don't like C.S. Lewis's writing style, or for those who are aware of the spiritual overtones of
Yeah.
C.S. Lewis's writings, don't want to deal with Christian indoctrination. Um, Read something different. So that way people can go, oh, okay, this isn't somebody that's just trying to push a message across.
Yeah, of course.
Because ultimately, it is doing story time is an expression of love, or a labor of love for other people. But it's a labor of love in the, I want people to have that warmth. I grew up with stories being read to me. That's what my mom and my dad did. As a matter of fact, a lot of my performance in story time with Nigel, and it is a performance, because I try to give everybody who has a speaking role in the book a different voice,
Yeah.
so that just upon hearing the character, you go, oh, that's this one, or oh, that's that one. A lot of that is influenced by how my father used to read books to myself and my younger sister.
Hmm.
But it all started, actually, someone had made a comment about wrestlers needed to do things like workout videos, or training things, just to kind of keep themselves
Yeah.
fresh. And I had made a wise crack of, oh yes, how to insult your friends and loved ones, by Nigel Rabid. And a fan had said, you should read people's stories. And at first I didn't take it seriously, and then I thought about it, and I went, I have these lovely children's books that, I to this day, the only other children that I know outside of myself and my younger sister, the only other children that I know that have heard this story is my stepdaughter, whom I used to read these stories to, and a young lady by the name of Zephany, who is a friend of mine's daughter. And Zephany has her own church, My Spoken, had been reading those books prior to ever meeting me. So because of the lack of exposure to it, I felt that sharing these rather exceptionally written, wonderfully illustrated children's books, it might help people.
Yeah.
Give somebody something to do. Give me something to do. Keep me from going. Just spending all my time sitting around eating snacks and watching telly. Do something productive in some form or fashion. And literally the day that I decide to do it, or actually the day after I decided to do it, LeVar Burton is doing his announcement of, I'm going to start doing reading children's books, or I'm going to start reading books online on my podcast, and I just got to figure out the rights. And Neil Gaiman goes, LeVar, you can read all my books. You've got carte blanche, do whatever you want. And then Dolly Parton's gotten in on it, and Tom Hardy's doing the same. And what was it? I think Amy Adams and I wonder. There was a news broadcast, or not a news broadcast, an advert during a news broadcast where it's showing all of these celebrities are trying to get in on
Yeah.
reading children's books, and here I am sitting here going, "Come on, guys! At least someone go, oh yeah, and this fella that none of you know, he's also doing, you know."
I got you. Well,
But it's been
go
fun.
ahead. Yeah,
Oh
for sure.
yeah,
Now, I don't want to take up too much of your time. But where can
my
people find you on social media? Where can other companies like take a look at you in case you want to branch out and take your management talents to different places as well, just to get your name out there?
well, as far as as far as getting my name out there, absolutely. That's uh, I enjoy work.
Mm-hmm.
I'm willing to work. I want to work. I've been blessed these past 10 years to have in some cases, slow but very steady professional career life.
Yeah.
And I'm always willing to work something out and to get something done. Commentary, managing. I don't do a whole lot of stateside announcing, but I have been known to, I'll go, like, for example, I had one promoter reach out to me and say, hey, Nigel, or actually it was BIW. BIW's owner, Josh, reached out to me and said, hey, Nigel, Adam Asher speaks really highly of you. I was wondering if you could come out and do some announcing for me. And said, well, I don't really do announcing stateside. I do announcing internationally, but I don't really do it stateside. I asked him if there was a management spot he had available. He's like, no, I don't really have a need for a manager. I don't have an announcer for this show. I was like, well, is this like a one time? You're not looking for me to be a regular announcer for you, but you're in a spot. He's like, yeah, that's kind of what's going on. I was like, yeah, sure, no, I'll come and help out.
Yeah.
So while I'm not willing to be a regular announcer, because being a regular announcer doesn't allow me to expand my portfolio as a manager. It doesn't allow me to
Mm-hmm.
grow that. I'm not one of those people that believe that anybody can be an announcer. Being an announcer is a very difficult role, and if you do not know how to do it correctly, you should not be given the microphone and allowed to present the show, because
Yeah.
you are the presentation that makes impressions for fans.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't understand that fan base, like, for example, I have a friend of mine goes by the name Mole. He used to do announcing for XCW. If I was announcing for XCW, I would probably not fare well with their audience because of my announcing style,
Yeah.
because they were a rowdy, kind of hardcore wrestling, college town crowd. Mole was perfect for that. Mole did. Mole. He had that. Was laid back, almost devil may care kind of attitude. He didn't worry about posturing. He didn't worry about having a polished presentation. He worried about making sure that the fans knew what was going on. He worried about him having fun. He worried about the fans having fun, and his attitude and his style meshed well for XCW. If you don't understand your audience, if you don't understand where you're presenting, then you don't put forth the right view for the product.
Yeah, of course.
But my point in saying that is I as far as an announcer is concerned, I don't know that I've got a whole lot of other directions that I can improve in. Now, if anybody out there disagrees with me, please reach out to me on social media. I'm available on Facebook. I reply to literally any message that isn't that isn't an offer to take a look at your porn links. But you know, I'm always up for constructive criticism for a new direction. But you know, I'm up for. I'm largely up for whatever. I'd rather not be an announcer because, or I'd rather not be a regular announcer for a company, because being a regular announcer for a company means 9 times out of 10 that I cannot move within that company to become a manager, and that's really where my focus and my goals are.
I got you.
Now, I'm a Bobby Heenan fan.
Yeah,
I love Bobby Heenan. That's who I grew up watching. That's who I won't say I try to emulate him, because no one can emulate Bobby Heenan, but that's who that's who inspires me to be the type of personality that I am when doing commentary, and trying to touch the hem of the garment of the master. Because I mean, no one's ever been as good as Bobby Heenan, and I don't think anybody will ever be as good as Bobby Heenan until that magical person hits. And I don't know that I'm that person. I would love to say that I am, but I mean, Bobby had a magic about him, as did Gorilla.
Most definitely.
But
now, oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, but as far as, you know, I mean, provided that we can make the travel, I'll go just about anywhere. I'm not one of those people that I don't look out of the crowd and go, oh my God, there's 20 people in the crowd and 15 of them are family, and the other 5 came to see this one guy here. I'm not going out there. I'm not wasting my time. And that's not how I do business. You know, you bring me out to do something, I go do it.
I understand that. Now, I am gonna have to invite you back on the show, get more stories with you. But my recording device is dying currently, so that is something that I will definitely be taking a look into, lengthening that so that we can talk longer the next time that I have you on. But it has been an absolute pleasure to have you on. Love listening to you talk, not just because of your voice, but also the stories, the wisdom that you carry. It's fantastic.
Thank you.
Nigel, thank you so much for being on our show. And thank you, everyone, for tuning in. It really is appreciated. Remember to like, share, subscribe. Just help us grow so we can help the wrestlers grow and get more visibility on them. But until then, this is Skip A-Okie, and you have watched the A-OK Show.